I need to tell you something that took me a long time to understand about Ireland. Most people come here looking for something, a better job, a fresh start, peace, maybe just a change of scenery. And what Ireland does, quietly, without announcing itself, is give you something completely different from what you came for. Not worse, not better, just not what you expected. And by the time the first thing you notice when you land in Ireland is how quiet everything is. Not silent, quiet. People talk, buses move, the city has its rhythm, but there's no urgency. Nobody is rushing past you like you're in the way. Nobody is honking. Nobody looks like they're late for something critical. And if you came from a busy city, from Sao Paulo, from New York, from London, your first reaction is something must be wrong, because you've been trained to read calm as empty and busy as successful. Ireland doesn't work that way. I arrived here with a plan. I had a list, things I was going to do, achieve, fix about my life. I had this idea that a new country would somehow reset everything, that I'd wake up in Dublin and suddenly be the version of myself I'd always meant to be. That's not what happened. The shock of moving to Ireland isn't the cold, it's not the rain, though the rain is constant. And yes, it gets into your head. The shock is the pace. In the first week, I kept feeling like I was missing something, like everyone had gotten a memo I hadn't received. Why is nobody stressed? Why does the cashier at Tesco have a full conversation with the person ahead of me in line? A real conversation, not polite noise. While I stand there wondering if this is normal, it is normal. In Ireland, time works differently. Not lazily, not unproductively, just differently. People here have a relationship with the present moment that most of us have completely forgotten how to have. I remember sitting in a coffee shop in my second week, watching two older men talk for what must have been an hour and a half, about nothing urgent, just talking, laughing occasionally, taking their time with every sentence. I felt genuinely confused. I kept thinking, don't they have somewhere to be? Things to do? And then I had a thought that stopped me completely. Why do I think that? Why is sitting still and talking to someone a waste of time? That question didn't leave me for weeks. Somewhere around week 3, something shifted. I stopped trying to recreate my old routine in a new place. I stopped checking if I was being productive enough by whatever standard I'd brought with me. I started walking, not with a destination, not as exercise, well, partly as exercise, but mostly just walking. Because in Ireland, walking is still a thing people actually do, without earphones sometimes, without a podcast, just moving through a place and letting the place exist. And the landscapes here do something to you. There's a particular kind of light in Ireland, especially on the West Coast, but even in Dublin, that doesn't exist anywhere else I've been. It comes through clouds in a way that makes everything look like it's being filmed, like ordinary streets and green hills are somehow significant. And being in that light, walking in it, something loosens. I don't know how else to describe it except to say, I stopped performing. I'd been performing for years. Performing success, performing happiness, performing busyness as a virtue. Ireland slowly and without making a big deal of it just stopped requiring that performance. Nobody here needed me to be impressive. Nobody was measuring me. The country itself felt indifferent to my ambitions in the best possible way. And in that space, in that complete indifference, I found something I hadn't had in a long time. I found out what I actually wanted. Let me tell you 3 things about Ireland that nobody puts in the immigration videos. First, the loneliness is real, and it's okay. People are warm here, incredibly warm, but Irish warmth isn't Brazilian warmth or American friendliness. It builds slowly. It takes time. In the first 2 months, you will feel alone even when surrounded by people. That's not a failure, that's the process. The friendships that form here, when they form, are real in a way that's hard to explain. People aren't performing for you. When an Irish person tells you to come to their house for dinner, they mean it. That's different from many places. Second, the rain will change you. I know that sounds ridiculous, but hear me out. When you can't control the weather, and in Ireland you absolutely cannot, you stop trying to control everything else too. You make plans, the rain comes, you adjust. Without drama, without complaint, you just adapt. I became a more flexible person in Ireland, not because I decided to, because the weather required it. Third, silence here is not empty. This was the hardest thing to learn, and the most valuable. In Ireland, silence in a conversation is not awkward. It's not a problem to solve. People think before they speak. They let sentences breathe. They don't fill every moment with words just to prove they're engaged. Once you learn that silence is allowed, you start using it. And when you start using it, you realize how much of what you used to say was noise. I moved to Ireland to start over. What I didn't understand, what I couldn't have understood before coming, is that starting over isn't dramatic. It's not a before and after photo. It's not a moment of revelation. It's a Tuesday in November when you realize you haven't checked your phone in 3 hours and you don't feel anxious about it. It's walking home in the rain and not minding. It's sitting in a pub with someone you met 6 months ago and realizing this person knows you, really knows you, in a way that would have taken 5 years in your old city. Ireland doesn't give you what you came for, but if you stay long enough, if you let it, it gives you what you needed. And that's a completely different thing. If you're thinking about coming here, or if you've already made the move and you're in that confusing first stage, I hope this helped. Leave a comment below. Tell me where you are in the process. I read every one. And if this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it.